Now, it's time for the Neighborhood Connection.
You know, we had a great question about cold air leaking around a recessed can light. So I built a little display here so we can talk about it. So we have our normal recessed can light. Maybe it's one of these little tiny ones, or it's one of the big 6-inch ones. It doesn't matter. They can all leak air around them, especially the older ones. Now, if it's one of these newer styles that are LED where it's flush in the front or it's sealed, all you've got to do is caulk around the outside of this, and that might seal it up. But let me talk about what to do with the older 6-inch can lights. Let's go into the ceiling here. If we go above, this is where we can stop some of these problems. So if you've got an attic area, many times they won't be IC rated. What is IC rated? That is insulation contact. So what happens is you go up there and you see this big can light from the top side of the attic, and there's no insulation around it because it's not rated for contact. What do? One thing you can do is actually change out that light fixture so it is an IC rated fixture, or you can build a little box around it so that way you can still insulate it. So let me show you what to do. So we got our light in here, and take a look at the light. If you pull up on the inside and remove the trim, it'll say what kind of spacing and stuff it needs, so that way you know how big a box to build. So the first thing we're going to do is I cut up some pieces here. We're going to build a little box around the outside of this, so that way we can seal it up, keep the insulation away from it, but still have a sealed up unit. So what I've done is I've cut some pieces up here, and I'm going to just snap these together and show you what we're going to do. You can use screws, you can use nails, whatever you want, but I'm going to go ahead and just tack this in because we're going to caulk it in here as well. So let me turn my gun on here. We're just going to kind of toenail this in. This isn't structural, so we just want to make sure we get it in here good. I'm trying to do it up high so I don't mess with my drywall down below, because if you do that, that's a drywall repair. Just going to toenail this in. You can put screws in from the outside. Either way, next thing I'm going to do is we're going to caulk this whole thing in, so that way it doesn't leak. That way we're stopping the air. So I can come in here, right here, just like that. Now we're going to make our little Oreo sandwich right here. Put that right there. Like I said, we can be using screws or whatever you got around the shop, it doesn't matter. And now you can insulate over the top of this like the rest of the house up there, and you've got a sealed in unit, and that way you don't have to change out that light fixture. That's an easy way to save yourself some energy, because all that air coming in is costing you money. You know, that is a great question, and I think we've all left something outside a little too long and it got rusty, and then you don't know what to do with it. Now the first thing is I want to talk about is if you go to the store and buy one of these rust dissolvers, they don't work as you think they do, and here's why. They actually come on and convert that over into a black protectant surface on the outside. So if you're trying to restore it back to the way it was, that's not the right product. But if you did have something rusting that you want to stop the rust, this works great. Now I actually was working in my backyard and dug up this pry bar. So it's been out there for a long time, so it's kind of the most extreme. I actually soaked this here for 2 days and it converted that over, but it doesn't look like how I want it to. So I'm going to show you how to do that carefully. So really you have to think about what kind of tool it is and what the finish is. Where this is just a big piece of iron, we're really not going to hurt it, so we're going to treat it as such. So I'm going to grab my drill here with a nice coarse wire wheel on it, and then I'm going to put some safety glasses on because those wires love to fly around everywhere. And then we're going to try stripping that off of here and get it back down to bare metal. Let's see how it goes. All right, so I changed from the heavy gauge wire to the fine wire. I'm just going to polish this a little bit more and get some more of this just kind of baked off rust that's on here and get it off of here. So this is where we're just got to be careful. These wires can hurt, so make sure you got a glove on and safety glasses. All right, now this is where you have to decide how far you want to take it. Do you want to have this look as much like new or just kind of an old iron finish? If it's old iron finish, you'd stop right here. Let's get out with 180 grit and see if I can get any more polish on this. Let's see how it goes. All right, now I'm gonna hit it with the wire just one more time to see if I can get anything out of the little grooves and divots inside this. All right, guys, this was an extreme case, but as you can tell, you can get it back to looking a lot closer to what it was originally. Now, the last step you can do after you get this all cleaned up is you can either hit it with some flat black or some clear lacquer. That way you're protected the next time you forget it outside.